Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhatarayanam Sutra Bhashya-kritau Vande Bhagavantau Nanu iha jigyasya vailakshanyam soda. So the topic is that the Brahmavidya, the knowledge. The Purvapakshi said Brahman is unfolded, Brahman is described in Vedanta only as an object of upasana. See, knowledge, it has to be available for being translated into action. Knowledge, unless it is available for being translated into action, it is of no use. Therefore, every knowledge should be available for translation into action. Then action translates itself into a result. And that result is always in the form of an object. And that object translates itself into a sense pleasure. Thus, knowledge has to ultimately culminate in my sense pleasure. That must be understood. Sense pleasure. Now, if you say Brahmajnanam is something which cannot be translated into action, which need not be translated into action, then Brahmajnanam is of no use. And a knowledge that is of no use cannot be given by Shastra. Nishprayojanam jnanam is of no use. So, as per the Purvapakshi, every knowledge is and should be available for action. Either it should be useful in my physical action, karma, or it should be useful in my mental action called worship attitudes. Either the knowledge should shape my actions, or it should shape my attitudes. So, like worship, etc. And that worship, mental upasana, also brings me some punya. And punya ultimately, becomes my sense pleasure. And that sense pleasure is what really man wants. That is our need. The universal need is sense pleasure. Here or hereafter. Now, Brahmajnanam is not available. You say it is not Brahmajnanam. cannot be, Brahman cannot be an object of worship. If Brahman is not an object of physical or mental action, then the knowledge of it is of no use. This is the topic. Now the Siddhanti says, my dear, self-knowledge is unlike every piece of knowledge in the creation. This must be, one has to put down this statement. Not as a matter of stuti, not as a matter of, an emotional, attitude towards it. Like every individual says, I am unlike everybody. And every religion says, it is unlike. Ours is the best, unlike it. Not in that sense, not in a fanatical way. It should be understood how the knowledge about oneself is unlike every other piece of knowledge, because every knowledge in this world is of no use by itself, but then when we use it for our action, it becomes useful. This is all called aparavidya. It's called aparavidya. Aparavidya can be used for physical and mental action. Every science can be translated into action. You have to follow now? Every science can be it is used. Medical knowledge is used in making medicines. Physics is used in technology. You see, every science is used, it's applied in our life, in making our life better in the sense, in bringing about certain comforts, conveniences. Therefore, but this knowledge is unlike all, because here self-knowledge is in the form of understanding that everything, a realm of thought and action, is a mere perception in the truth. Therefore, tracing the realm of thought and action to its source, its substance, its actuality, and thus falsifying the realm of thought and action in the light of one's own existence. Falsifying the realm of thought and action, and that is the self-knowledge. How are you going to again put it into action? Falsifying the realm of division, falsifying the realm of karakas, falsifying the realm of individuality, tracing the whole physical, biological and mental realm, tracing the whole thing to one being, falsifies the whole realm. That knowledge, how can it be? It can be used. And that knowledge is useful for the jiva because that knowledge liberates him from the sense that I am an individual, I am a limited individual. In fact, the liberation from that view that I am synonymous with the form is actually prayojanam. Everything else looks prayojanam, but it is a nishprayojanam. Keeping the view that I am an individual, whatever I get, it is nishprayojanam, because in the eyes of Vedanta, the prayojanam means the individual coming out of his age-old anadi view that my existence is not independent of form. My existence is just form. He doesn't know that he is the all-knowing drashta, unnegatable experienced being. And therefore, the prayojanam is only adhyasa nivritti. Prayojanam is only adhyasa nivritti. Within adhyasa, whatever looks prayojanam is in fact nishprayojanam. But for a jiva within adhyasa who doesn't know that the problem is adhyasa, for him the idea of prayojanam means sense pleasure is the prayojanam. And from that point of view, the Purva-paksha argues, anything what can bring me sense pleasure is only physical and mental karma. And therefore, whatever knowledge we gain should help us perform physical and mental actions so that they can bring us sense pleasure, so that come fulfilled. Siddhanta says no. Why? Self-knowledge is unlike all the forms of knowledge available in the creation. And that is the topic. That is what we have to see now. Nanu iham jijñāsya vailakṣaṇyam uttam karmakāṇḍe bhavyo dharmah jijñāsya ihatu bhūtam nitya nivrittam brahma jijñāsyamiti. So this we have just seen, but let us pick from here. We have to pick up the thread from here. Karmakāṇḍe, Siddhanta says, it's a kind of an opposition to the Purva-paksha, just like butting in and saying. His elaborate answer will come later on. Sir, in Karmakāṇḍa, dharma is bhavya. Dharma means karma. The karma that we do, whether it is the Vaidika karma or Laukika karma, karma by its nature is bhavya. Bhavya means that which is yet to come. It's not there. It is not an already obtaining reality. I bring it about. That is why it is called bhavya in contrast to bhutam. Bhutam means what is. Bhavati bhutam. Jo hai wo bhutam. Bhavya dharma. Jijñāsya is what is to be analyzed and understood. The karma that we need to do, I try to understand it before I do it. I understand an action as to how to do it so that I can do it. That is called dharma jijñāsa, karma jijñāsa. Jijñāsya is the topic of analysis, is the topic of knowledge. Understanding actions is the topic in Karmakāṇḍa. Understanding actions to be done. Understanding actions which are yet to be done. Bhavyo dharmaha karmakāṇḍe jijñāsya. The topic of knowledge understanding in Karmakāṇḍa is the yet to come about dharma. Iha tu, whereas here in Vedanta, Bhutam, what is already there. Nitya Nirvrittam, ever present. Nitya Nirvrittam, ever present. Brahma, the unlimited, Jignasyam is the topic. In Vedanta, the topic for understanding is the ever-present Brahman, the ever-present oneself, the ever-present experiencer, the ever-present observer is the topic. So I don't bring about my existence. I am already there, and even to prove that I am not there, I should be there. My existence cannot be proved or disproved by somebody else. My existence is felt by myself. Everybody feels his own existence. Existence is something unquestionably evident. Therefore, Jignasyamiti, here the topic is the ever-present. There the topic is the action that is yet to come about. It's a very big thing. Therefore, now he draws a conclusion, Bhashyakara. Sir, if that is so, then the fruit of Dharma Jnanam should be different from the fruit of Brahma Jnanam. One is the knowledge pertaining to action, the other is knowledge pertaining to Bhutam. Tatra Dharma Jnana Phalat Anusthana Apekshat Vilakshanam Brahma Jnana Phalam Bhavitumarhati. Tatra Dharma Jnana Phalat. In comparison to the result between the two, see, this is the contrast. When it is so, Tat Brahma Jnana Phalat, in comparison to the result of karma, the result of the knowledge of action, the result of the knowledge of action. There is knowledge as to the know-how of an action, the result of the know-how of action. That knowledge, that result of the know-how of an action depends upon the performance of an action. The know-how of an action doesn't give me the result. The know-how of an action doesn't give me the result. The know-how of an action doesn't give me the result. The know-how of an action gives me the result after Anusthana. That is why it is Anusthana Apeksha. Dharma Jnana Phalat. In comparison to the result of the Karma Jnanam, Dharma Jnanam, which is what? Anusthana Apekshat. In comparison to the result of the knowledge of an action, which knowledge always brings me result after the performance of an action. In comparison to the result of an action, in comparison to the knowledge of in comparison to the result of the knowledge of the action, Vilakshanam, dissimilar. Brahmajnana phalam, the result of Brahmajnanam, Bhavitamarhati, should be. Bhavitamarhati means it deserves to be different. The result of Brahmajnanam should be different from the fruit of Brahmajnanam, should be different from Karmajnanam. the result of Brahma Jnanam should be different from the result of Karma Jnanam. What is the result of Karma Jnanam? Karma Jnanam helps me perform karma. And karma performed brings me a result, a material result. And that material result ultimately culminates in my sukha vritti, sense pleasure. That is the phala. A sense pleasure, a temporary sense pleasure is the result of action performed as well as the know-how of an action, because the know-how of an action gets exhausted, gets translated into an action. Clear? Apart from that, all the details that are related to karma anushtanam, even the knowledge of those details, the result of that knowledge also is nothing but sense pleasure. It's connected to karma. Tatra dharma jnana phalat anusthana apekshat vilakshanam brahma jnana phalam bhavitum arhati. So if it bhavitum arhati means it deserves, means it should be. It should be different. So what can be the result unlike sense pleasure? You see, it has to be moksha. That which is unlike sense pleasure. Unlike sense pleasure has to be moksha. Hey Rama, unlike means sense pleasure includes every sense pleasure, every emotional pleasure, every memory bound pleasure. I see and enjoy, I remember and enjoy, or whatever I hope to get it and enjoy. This moda, priya, moda, pramoda, all these things come under sense pleasure. And if there is something which is unlike sense pleasure, and which is again in the form of phala, it is phala rupam, it is something which I like, but it is unlike a sense pleasure, then it has to be moksha rupam. It has to be in the form of freedom from jivatvam. Because as a jiva I can only have sense pleasure. Remaining within adhyasa as a jiva, every prayojanam is in the form of sense pleasure. And if there is a fruit which is totally unlike sense pleasure, then it has to be freedom from the very jivatvam. Not remaining a jiva, I can have a vilakshanam. Remaining with the view that I am a form, every pleasure is a sense pleasure, and if I have to have a pleasure which is unlike all other pleasures, which is in the form of the fruit, then that prayojanam, that benefit, the benefit of Brahma Vidya, which is unlike the benefit of all the sense pleasures, well, if it is unlike all of them, then it has to be in the form of freedom from jivatvam. I cannot think of any other. If we say Swarga, that is again sense pleasure. You go to any point in creation, it is karma phalam. That is why there is no, in fact all phalam is karma phalam. That is why the Vedika, our approach is a very comprehensive wisdom. If somebody is dukhi, we say karma phalam. Don't curse anybody. Which karma phalam? What does it matter? Whether it is karma phalam of this janma. Anyway, it is the result of some karma, your karma. Whether it is the result of this janma, whether it is the result of the karma done in this janma or the result of the karma done in the previous janmas, kya farak padta hai? It has no other identity other than, it has no identity. Sukham and dukkham has no identity other than being karma phalam. It is karma phalam, even though within the realm of adhyasa. That is the framework. In the realm of, therefore you can say, why are you happy? The karma phalam. I am unhappy. Karma phalam. Therefore rectify your karma so that you will get more sukha. Instead of dukkha you will get sukham. And if you get sukham, why is he happy? Karma phalam, not due to some enlightenment. If Mr. Vittal is very happy or somebody is happy, is very happy and top of the world, is moving here with golden Rolex watch, vagera, vagera, vagera. What is it? Karma phalam, bas, aur kuch nahi. It is not, oh, he is a happy person because he is an enlightened person. Aisa kuch nahi. So now the point that a Vedanti should grasp is, phalam is only two kinds. Either it is indriya sukham or adhyasa nivritti, swarupa sukham. Either it is indriya sukham or swarupa sukham. There is no Swarupa Sukham, when I say, it is not that really Indriya Sukham is outside Swarupa Sukham, it is also within Swarupa Sukham, that's a different matter. Adhyasa Nivritti is one kind of prayojanam. Remaining within Adhyasa to get Sukham is another prayojanam. So the prayojanam of karma is to get some pleasure within Adhyasa, and if there is a result for jiva, which is totally unlike the indriya sukham, it has to be moksha, meaning adhyasa nivritti. Therefore, adhyasa nivritti is the fruit of Brahma Vidya. Then how can you say Brahma Jnanam without action? Brahma Jnanam without action is useless. Karma Jnanam depends upon karma anushtanam, but Brahma Jnanam does not depend upon Brahma anushtanam. It is not anushtana apeksham. Whereas karma Jnanam is anushtana apeksham. If Brahma Jnanam also brings me result depending upon Brahma anushtanam, then it will not be vilakshanam result, it will be selection. It will be salakshanam in the sense similar. So any knowledge that brings me result, any result that comes from a knowledge that is available for anushtanam, that result has to be the indriya sukham. It has to be indriya sukham. And one doesn't have to worry about the gradation in indriya sukham. It may be graded, but fundamentally it is indriya sukham. When we say this, in answer to this, the Purva says, Narhati evam bhavitum karyavidhi prayuktasya eva brahmanaha pratipadyamanatvat. Says karya vidhi prayuktasya na arhati evam bhavitum. It can't be so. Narhati evam bhavitum. Evam bhavitum means what? Vilakshanam bhavitum narhati. Brahmajnana phalam vilakshanam bhavitum narhati. The fruit of Brahmajnanam cannot be dissimilar to Indriya Sukham. Cannot be dissimilar to Sukha Vritti in the mind. karya vidhi prayuk. And not only that, just you say karma jnanam depends upon karma anushtanam for producing a result, whereas brahma jnanam does not depend upon brahma anushtanam. That is also not true. Brahma jnanam does depend upon brahma anushtanam for it to produce the result, and that result also is similar to all other indriya sukham but utkrishtam. It is not vilakshanam but utkrishtam. Utkrishtam means exalted indriya sukham. Exalted sukha vritti is called moksha. Exalt, that is what is called utkrishtam. In comparison to all other anushtanas, in comparison to the results of all other actions, but the result that is born of Brahma anushtanam is something that excels all of them, and that inexcellable sukha vritti, unsurpassable sukha vritti, utkrishtatamam sukha vritti is what is called moksha. But it is not vilakshanam. That also depends upon Brahma anushtanam, which is facilitated by Brahma jnana. So you have to capture that link. That is why it slips of the mind. When one sits in the class, those subtle things are not captured. Jnanam is used for anushtana, which karna. I use that knowledge to do some physical and mental action. That brings about the result. That means knowledge is not, knowledge by itself does not give result. Narhatyevam bhavitum. Why? Karya vidhi prayuktasya eva. Karya vidhi means karma vidhi, kriya vidhi. Kriya vidhi means a statement of action. Prayuktasya as connected to action, as connected to the statement of action, meaning as connected to action, as connected to upasana kriya. Prayuktasya eva. Brahma ka pratipadyamanatvat is being unfolded. Pratipadyamanatvat, pratipadya pad, pratipadyama, being unfolded. Brahman is described in Vedanta only as something that is related to a mental action called upasana. It is not unfolded as an independent truth. It is unfolded, described as connected, related to my mental worship. Meaning Vedanta talks about Brahman so that you can mentally worship it. That's it. Vedanta describes the qualities of Brahma so that you can think of those qualities and worship Brahman. Therefore, how is Brahman pratipadyamanam? Karya vidhi prayuktasya eva brahmana. Prayuktasya and brahmana both shashti ekavachan. Prayuktasya brahmana eva pratipadyamanatvat. कार्य विधि के साथ जो प्रयुक्त, प्रयुक्त मतलब कनेक्टेड, कनेक्टेड का ब्रह्म का ही प्रतिपाद्यमानत्व है. Brahman is unfolded only, Brahman is described only as related to Brahma Upasana, which is a vidhi, meaning which is recommended by Vedanta. Vidhi means what? Hey, do Brahma Upasana. The true Brahma Upasana is what is called Vidhi. Pratipadyamana. Where are those Vidhis? And those Vidhis are all quoted here. You know, this is all Atmavare Drashtavyaham Iti Ya Atmam Apahata Papmam Sonveshtavyaham Sa Vijignyasitavyaham Atma Ityeva Upasitam Atmanameva Lokam Upasitam Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati Ityadi Vidhaneshu Satsu Dosavatma Kim Tad Brahma Ityakanshayam Tat Swarupa Samarpanena Sarve Vedantaha Upayuktaha Atmavare Drashtavyaha. Drashtavyaha. Tavya pratyaya is there. Is a vidhi. Atma has to be seen. Has to be seen means darshana kriya. Has to be seen means darshana kriya. Darshana kriya. Meaning upasitavya. Darshana kriya kartavya means upasitavya. According to whom? Purvapakshi. So we have to see what he thinks. According to Purvapakshi, the meaning of Drashtavya. According to the Purvapakshi, Drashtavya means Upasitavya. Similarly, Ya Atma Apahata Papma. The sinless self. Yaha Atma, the self. Apahata Papma, the sinless self. Saha, that self. Anveshtavyaha. Tavya pratyaya should be searched. I mean the meaning, I am giving Siddhanti's meaning. Purvapaksh's meaning. Actual meaning is should be searched, means should be known. Anveshtavya means jignasitavya should be understood. Should be inquired and found. But as per the Purvapakshi, Tavya Pratyaya, Tavya means what? It is a Vidhi Linga. Tavyaha. Tavya, Tavyat, Yat, Niyat, Aniyar, these are all come under Vidhi Lingas. Tavya Pratyaya. Especially Tavya, Tavyat. Darshaniya, even Aniyar, all these things come under, they imply this gives a suggestive of Vidhi, to be done. Atma so Anveshtavyaha, Anveshtavya. Sa Vijignyasitavyaha, it should be inquired and known. Be reflected upon and known. But as per the Purvapakshi, Upasitavya. Atma ityeva upasita. Meditate upon Brahman as Atma. Upasita. Upasana kare. Atmanameva lokam upasita. Atmanam dvitiya, lokam dvitiya. Those both are connected. Atmanam lokam eva upasita. May you meditate upon the Atma Loka. Atma itself is otherwise called Loka, the realm of yourself. Meaning, may you meditate upon the Atma. Therefore, Atma becomes what? Upasana Vishaya. Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. That Veda means here, it should meaning the one who does the Upasana, Vidyatiti. Veda means Vidyat. The one who does meditation upon Brahma becomes Brahma. The one who, these are four Pakshis meanings I have given. Don't collect them as the real vision of Siddhartha. These are four Pakshis. Four Pakshi ka Brahma Veda Brahmaya Bhavati Ityadi Vidhaneshu Satsu. When there are injunctions like this, Ityadi Vidhaneshu Satsu, when there are statements of injunctions like this, meaning when there are statements asking man to undertake Brahma Upasana. Karo, Brahma Upasana, karo, Brahma ke darshan karo, Brahma ke anveshan karo, Brahma ka dhyan karo. In this manner, Vidhaneshu Satsu, when I hear that Vedanta telling me that you should do Brahma Upasana in so many ways, so many statements, then I get it out. How do I think of Brahman in the form of which qualities? Who is that Brahma? Who is this Atma? Kosam Atma? Who is this Atma? Kaha asam Atma? ये आत्मा कौन है? किम तत् ब्रह्म? वो ब्रह्म क्या चीज है? इति आकांक्षायाम, when I have a doubt like this, I am told to do Brahma Upasana, Atma Upasana, then I get a doubt. I can't really think of Brahman unless I have some description of Brahma. I can't think of Atma unless I have some description of Atma. Therefore, when I get an akanksha, kosav Atma kim tat Brahma, ye Brahma kya cheez hai, ye Atma kya cheez hai, thoda bahut idea de do, so that I can do Upasana. Aisa, when there is an akanksha in the mind of a shroka, nitya akankszayam akankszayam, ऐसी आकांक्षा होने पर then Vedanta was akanksha in order to answer that, fulfill that akanksha, tat swarupa samarpanena, tat swarupa brahma swarupa samarpanena, atma swarupa samarpanena, by way of presenting the description of Atma and Brahman, by way of presenting. Samarpana means, presenting. Samarpana means presenting the qualities of description of Brahman. By way of presenting the nature of Atma and Brahma, Sarve Vedantaha, all Vedantas, Upayuktaha, are used up. All Upanishads get used up. All Upanishads get exhaustively used up. There is nothing more. They get used up by way of presenting the description of the nature of Atma and Brahma, so that you can think of Atma and Brahma and do Upasana. Therefore, the Vedantas get exhausted in presenting the qualities of Atma and Brahma to facilitate Brahma Upasana. Upayuktaha. And how do they describe? Nityaha, Sarvajnaha, Sarvagataha, Nityatriptaha, Nityashuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha, Vijnanamatma Vijnanamanandam Brahma, Ityeva Vadayaha. This kind of, it gives qualities of Brahma. Purvapakshi picks up all, these vakyas. What is the description of Atma and Brahma? Nityaha, eternal. Sarvajnaha, all-knower, Sarvagataha, all-pervasive, Nityatriptaha, ever peaceful, ever satisfied, Nitya Shuddha, ever pure, Buddha, Shuddha, Buddha, ever consciousness, Mukta, ever free, of the nature of ever free, Vijnanam, it is awareness, Anandam, it is happiness, Brahma, it is unlimited. In this manner, well, do meditation upon Brahman. So, when I hear the description of Brahman and Atma, I think of Brahman as, Hey Brahman, you are Nityaha, Shuddhaha, Buddhaha, Muktaha, you are indeed Sarvagataha, you are Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, आप ही सब कुछ है, etc. etc. You can अपनी तरफ से भी कुछ डाल दो, fine. Anyway, it is all imagination. Why should I restate somebody else's imagination? I can add my own imaginations. What is it? आप करुणा समुद्र हैं, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. Imagine. In this manner, ityeva madaya. See, this is the problem. This is where really there are problems in Vedanta is distorted at this point. You know, the mother distortion is here. In fact, that triggers untold number of distortions in the world about Vedanta stems from this lack of understanding. Like, we think of Brahma Vidya is like any other Vidya, which has to be practiced, which has to be translated into some action and get some result. And they will say, spiritual happiness is everlasting, whereas material happiness is temporary. That means Utkrishta. And the spiritual happiness is everlasting. Everlasting. And the people who hear my God, they start, you see, thinking, oh my God, everlasting happiness. You fall for it. What is this everlasting happiness? Everlasting happiness. Everlasting happiness one cannot get just because you do some upasana. And what is spiritual? This word spiritual, what does it spiritual mean? So this is where really we really part here. Because that is where you have to use your viveka. Wherever I need to think, there I distort this word. Wherever I need to think, there I don't think and I distort. Because the mind can't go into the profound dissimilarity, difference that is there between any knowledge in this creation and the knowledge about the subject. Knowledge about an object can be used for karma, but the knowledge about the observer it liberates man by itself, doesn't require to be translated to action, nor is it possible anyway. These two profound topics. Tracing everything to one being, nirvisesham. First pada, second pada, third pada, boiled down to chaturtha pada, figuring out the whole existence as the one being, to the absolutely peaceful being. Well, how is that? Who is going to use it? I have to be a karta, but my kartritvam itself gets falsified. Otherwise it is of no use. If Brahma Vidya is not something, if Brahma Vidya is some mystical stuff which gives me some kind of happiness within the realm of my jivatvam, it is of no use. In fact, this material happiness is much better than mystical thing. Because mystical thing is all belief, material is solid. Material is solid. It is better to enjoy solid material pleasures rather than, thinking some spiritual happiness. That is why people lose interest also. Oh, spiritual happiness is much more, much greater, much better, vagara. They try some spiritual. Because there is no spiritual happiness, ultimately the known happiness is only Indriya Sukham. There is no Vastu Vichara, the only Sukham is Indriya Sukham, and you deny that Indriya Sukham, for a few days it takes it and afterwards it dumps it. Then he will go back again to McDonald's. Enough is enough, chalo. This is what happens. I'm not saying something very simplistic. That is the truth. Because we don't take up Vedanta correctly. I may take 1,000 lives, it doesn't matter, but I should take a stand. Is what it is talking, is it evident? That should be my stand. Is my existence self-existent? Is it self-existent and self-evident? Does everything boil down to that? The unfoldment that it makes, is it true? Thus I have to be a jnasuki. A student of truth means not that anybody who becomes a little, frustrated in the world, then it says, so I will become a spiritual man. What spiritual man he will become? Devadas banenge bas. See, you become a Devadas and remain outside the ashram, any ashram, then you are Devadas, and you get into the ashram, then you become a Swami. Devadas inside the ashram becomes what? A Swami. I mean, it happens. Devadas. Swami. Outside the ashram. In the eyes of others, Swami, in your own eyes, what are you? Devadas. Devadas need not be the one who is denied of a Devi. Devadas means the one who is frustrated is called Devadas. That doesn't mean anything, please. Therefore, one has to look into Vedanta very, very seriously. See. Now, Purva Pakshi continues. Tadupasanacha Shastra Drishtaha Adrishtaha Mokshaha Phalam Bhavishyatiti. So the Purvapakshi says, Tadupasanacha, by doing upasana upon the believed Brahman. When a person hears that Brahman is Nityam, Shuddham, Buddham, Muktam, all those ideas remain only beliefs. I project an idea of Brahma and ascribe to that Brahma all the qualities. It becomes a matter of belief. On that believed Brahma, I meditate. Then what happens? Tadupasana cha, through that upasana. See, that upasana is useful. I don't say that. But that upasana is itself is the purpose of Vedanta, that particular paksha we discuss. We don't criticize upasana. If you are doing upasana for Chitta Shuddhi, it is useful. If you are doing Brahma upasana for Aishwaryam, it is useful. If you are doing Brahma upasana for Krama Mukti, it is acceptable. But if you say this is all that is available in Vedanta called Brahma Upasana, there is no such a thing called Brahma Jnana, which is an end in itself, which liberates you. So he says, when you do Upasana, tad Upasana cha, and through its Upasana, Shastra Drishta, seen by Shastra. Adrishta, unseen by you. Seen by Shastra, but not seen by you right now. Moksha, that moksha, phalam, the fruit, avishyati, will come. You will get a moksha, you will get a moksha which is seen by Shastra. Shastra sees that moksha is the result of Brahma Upasana, which the very Upasaka doesn't see. So he believes in it and then goes on Brahma Upasana, which Shastra thinks will give you moksha. In what way is it different from theology? He can also say, you kill others, you will get Jannat, Shastra Drishta, Puran Drishta, Adrishta, seen by Quran but not seen by you. What is the difference? You will get moksha seen by Shastra, not seen by moksha. Bhavishyati. Clear? Next, Kartavya Vidhi Ananupraveshe Vastumatra Kathane Ana Upadana Asambhavat Saptadvipa Vasumati Rajasau Gacchati Ityadi Vakyavat Vedanta Vakyanam Anarthakyameva Syat. Says Kartavya Vidhi Ananupraveshe. The knowledge of Brahman unconnected to Kartavya and action. Kartavya Vidhi. Anupravesha means entry. Ananupravesha means non-entry, meaning unrelated to an action. When the knowledge doesn't enter the realm of action, the knowledge of Brahma without entry into action means untranslated into action. Kartavya Vidhi Ananupraveshe Vastumatra Kathane. If you unfold Brahman as a statement of fact, that is, Vastumatra Kathane. If it is a mere unfoldment of a fact that is there, Hana Upadana Asambhava. An unfoldment of a fact is something doesn't involve doing a right action or avoiding wrong action. Hana means avoiding, Upadana means taking. Nothing is deleted, nothing is added. An unfoldment of a fact doesn't create anything, doesn't destroy anything, doesn't avoid. When I come to know a fact, in that there is no addition or deletion. Vastumatra Kathaname, in unfolding a fact, there is no addition or deletion. And man gets the well-being of Jiva lies in additions and deletions. Additions of Sukham and deletion of Dukkham. Addition of right action and deletion of wrong action. so that there is addition of sukham and deletion of dukkham. But in stating a fact as it is, in knowing a fact as it is, there is no addition or deletion. There is no hana, there is no upana. I don't gain anything new, nor do I lose anything. Losing an error is not losing a thing. It is losing an error about a thing. It doesn't amount. Losing an error about a thing does not amount to losing a thing. It doesn't come under hana. Bhranti nivritti doesn't come under hana as per the karma kanda. It has to be a real literal deletion. The well-being of man depends upon addition of pleasure-giving objects and deletion of pain-giving objects. Take the old broken furniture out. That is called hana. Whenever you get up and see your old furniture, you start crying. Therefore, in order to delete the tears, in order to delete dukkham, you delete the old furniture. That is called hana. And bring in new one. That is called upada. Sukha vishaya addition, dukkha vishaya deletion. For which you have to add right actions to your life and delete, avoid wrong actions. This is called hana upada. But knowing a reality as it is, that Brahman is eternal, that mere knowledge doesn't add any sukha vishayam, doesn't take away any dukkha vishayam. Therefore, well kartavya vidhi ananupraveshe vastu matra kathane hana upadana asambhavat. There being no hana and upadana. And stating Brahman as the eternal, stating Brahman as the advitiyam, stating Brahman as the very Atma is like stating Saptadvipa Vasumati. This earth has 7 continents. Kya milega? This earth has 7 continents. Saptadvipa Vasumati, the earth. Rajasau gacchati, here goes the king. There was, in fact, a king was going and somebody comes and unfolds gives you this information. What is it? Here goes the king. And you get that information. Does it add any sukha? Does it take away any dukkha? Somebody gives you the information, the earth has got 7 continents. What will you get? Nothing. Addition of information doesn't amount to addition of dukkha. Addition of information also can give you happiness if you start thinking, this information, I will use it for action and that action will bring me a result. Therefore, preemptively you become happy. You become happy beforehand. The very thinking, that this information will help me get it. That is called priya. And you get it, moda. When you enjoy it, pramod. Then again, where do you come back? Priya. Reference some other thing. In this, but that information by itself, neither there is hana nor upadana. Similarly, in Brahma Vidya also, knowing that Atma is Brahman doesn't give you any sukham, doesn't take away also any dukkha, like any other information. But this information must be put to use, put to good use. You should put your knowledge to good use. These are all spiritual catchphrases. These are all anywhere, in any camp, you will say, you should do. In fact, he has not given any knowledge. Right away in the first class itself says, you should start practicing. In the very first class we are talking about really practice. Or even admonishing. So practice karna chahiye. What is the use of theories? An ounce of practice is better than tons of theory, catchphrases. And all these people say, those sects are dumb. Darkness. Shastra hai nahi hai. Shastra hai nahi hai. I want to just, make hay some things. I am ignorant and then giving all wrong things. You can never enlighten a society by just creating, the idea of spirituality. You have to make them think correctly, not merely make them feel spiritual. Do some meditation. What will it do? Just fizzle out, doesn't mean anything. That is why I say, शास्त्रों को पढ़ाना. 10 लोग भी आएंगे तो कोई बात नहीं. You don't have to go all over the world. Pick up 10 individuals and teach them correctly. That's right thing. At least you are being true to the truth. Your approach is being true to the truth. Should be taught. Anyway, Rajaso Gacchati Ityadi Vakyavat, Vedanta Vakyanam, all the Vedanta Vakyas, Anarthakyameva Syat, they will all be futile. All the Vedanta Vakyas would enjoy futility. Anarthakya means futility. They would enjoy futility. Means all your Vedanta would be futile. Vedanta as a mere knowledge is of no use. That knowledge has to be, for him knowledge means information. That knowledge has to be put into practice. Should do Brahmopasana. Vakyanam anarthakyameva syat. Now Siddhanti says, but Nanu Vastumatra Gathanepi Rajuriyam Ayam Sarpaha Ityadau Pranti Janitam Bhiti Nivartanena Arthavatvam Drishtam Tatha Ihapi Asansari Atmavastu Kathanena Sansaritva Pranti Nivartanena Arthavatvam Syat. How beautiful, butting it. How wonderful he stops. Hey, this can be like this. See, sometimes mere knowledge can liberate you. Vastu matra kathanepi, even in unfolding a fact. In stating a fact means in unfolding a fact. In unfolding a fact means the knowledge of a fact. Sometimes even knowledge of a fact. Vastumatra Gathanepi, like what? Rajuriyam, this is a rope. Nayam Sarpaha, this is not snake. Ityadav, in cases like this, Kranti Janita Bhiti, the fear born of Kranti, Nivartanena, by way of removing the fear born of Kranti, Arthavatam Drishtam, that knowledge is seen useful. This kathanam, this unfoldment of it as a rope, and my knowledge of it does liberate me. My knowledge of the Rabdu liberates me from the fear of my Pranti, that it is Sarpa. That means there is, we do have experience of knowledge being useful without anushఠāna. we do have experience of knowledge being useful without anushtana. Vastumatra kathanevi iyam rajjuhu nayam sarvaha ityadau. Well, Bhranti janita bhiti nivartanena, by way of removing the fear of the snake, arthavatvam drishtam, its usefulness is seen. Tatha, in the same manner, ihapi, here, in the case of life, in the case of Vedanta, asansari atmavastu kathanena, by way of unfolding the actual nature of ourselves. The very knowledge of our actuality, kathanena, sansaritva bhranti nivartanena, by way of correcting the bhranti that I am a sansari. Sansaritva bhranti nivartanena, by way of correcting the idea that I am a sansari. Sansaritva bhranti nivartanena arthavatvam syat, it can be useful. Vedanta can be useful for me by way of making me understand my actual nature. Now I am suffering the idea that I am a sansari, I am a form, I am born, I will die, I am imperfect, I am this, I am that, I am man, woman, young, old, I have a beginning and I have an end. In this manner I am inside time and space and form and thought. This is all sansaritvam. So I am suffering this view that I am sansari. By way of correcting my view that I am a sansari, my knowledge can be useful, my knowledge can be useful to me. Vedanta janya jnanam can be useful to me by way of Vedanta janya jnanam can be useful to me by itself, by way of correcting my sansaritva bhranti, and it need not be followed by any anushtana. In fact, with the knowledge of a fact about which there is already an error, whose ignorance I am suffering, whose error I am suffering in such a situation, well, if I get to know the fact, that very knowledge liberates me from the problem born of the error. It can be useful. Vedanta janya jnanam can be useful. Clear? Now the Purva-Pakshi comes and he says something which we will see later. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Rama, isn't it good analysis? Hey Rama, this is great analysis. Very big Samanvayadhyaya, the fourth sutra. Is it ordinary thing? Showing the difference between what is spirituality in general, what is Brahma-Vidya, what is Atma-Jnanam, what is all the above. So everybody says, I want to know the truth, I want to know the truth, vagera, vagera, vagera. Without Shastra, then what will it know? Because everybody always thinks that I must not only know, but I should also put it into practice. Yeah, I say put into practice what can be put into. That you don't put. What can be put into practice, that you don't. What cannot be put into practice, that you want to put it even before. दिमाग पता नहीं. Speak truth is a value, and you should put into. Be honest. Should be put into practice. Be nice to others. Put it into practice. दूसरों का दिमाग मत खाओ. Put it into practice. यहाँ पर आत्मा is Brahma. How can you put it into practice? We understood. Not that you should not think if you can't. It's not possible. Wake up from the dream. Now that waking, how do you put it into practice? How do you waking? You are already woken up and you are out of the dream. Free from the dream. Now that freedom from the dream, please put it into practice. How do you put it into practice? Continue to remain. See, you choicelessly you are free from it. It is already you have known that the dream is gone, you are awake. Now what is continuously you are free without your effort. When you are choicelessly free from the dream, then I say choicelessly you are free from the dream. And then afterwards you say you continue to be free means what? I say continuity, be continuously try to be free becomes a mandate, it becomes an effort. But when you are choicelessly free, choiceless freedom need not be sustained. Choiceless freedom need not be sustained. If it needs to be sustained, it can't be sustained. Therefore, never try to sustain to be sustained. What needs to be sustained can never be sustained. It will be gone. Therefore, discover what doesn't require to be sustained. Discover the eternal which is choicelessly eternal. This is a very big topic. You have to sit and do all that and think. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? How am I thinking? What am I? Where am I lacking? Do massage yourself. Everybody has to do it. हाँ जी, हमारा गुरु जी ऐसे कहते, पर कोई सुनते नहीं, उठाते. ना? Choice, see, self-existence, once I say, the truth is self-existent, and its evidence is self-existent, its existence is self-existent, its self-evidence is self-existently self-evident. Whatever truth is, it is choicelessly so. A very big vacuum. I can dump the rest of everything and then just be with that. Just dump the whole thing, everything else is trash. All other practice, everything is trash. Om Namah Shivaya. It's always better to write the vakyas and look at them. Look at them. Write the vakya, every word, and look at them. What does it imply? Om. Very important. I recommend A Vedanta Vidyarthi should write a Vakya and sit down, put it on the table, aram with a cup of coffee. Don't become a big, have a cup of coffee, sit down and very clearly think. What does it mean? What does self-evident mean? What is self-existence mean? What is awareness mean? Is it something, some substance in front of my mental eye? I think the one who is aware is awareness. The seer is awareness. The seer himself is the sight. Seer doesn't have the sight. The sight is awareness. Everything is in one sight in him. That everything is my sight, my knowledge. That is awareness. Thus one has to just sit down, relax, gently sit down at home, without any fikr, because no effort is of any use. No straining temples is of any use. No imaginations are of any use. No intellections are of any use. No imagination, no intellection, no speculations, no, acrobats or in mental acrobats are of any use. Yes, leave it. When you can't really try to find out anything, then you better attend the class and sit with the teacher and talk. And then in the meantime, just sit. You can be prayerful. Hey, Bhagavan, God, you are the truth. I am not able to make breakthroughs. Just sit down. If you are not able to make any headway, you are not able to understand a Vakya, leave it and start praying. Spend the day prayerfully. But not imagining, that very imaginary is the truth. That very imaginary is the truth. What can you do? Is the Chaturtha Pada. Everything else is a view. I am not a view. I have a view about myself, but my existence is not a view. The Samanvaya Adhyaya you can hear properly. Think about it, write notes on it. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namah Shivaya.